Hello and welcome back. My name is Sarah. I'm your yoga teacher for today, and today I really wanted to talk about choice and how that we can actually, as yoga teachers, really we can facilitate choice within a yoga class. And I've noticed that when I'm a yoga student and I go to different studios just to, get some inspiration, sometimes it's nice to be a student, how this aspect is actually really important to me and in my practice. And it's when it's kind of taken away from you, is when you notice it the most. And when I'm talking about choice, it's more about giving you options for yoga students, allowing flexibility to where the student can interpret the yoga posture in the way that they want to do it, but with all in a respectful environment that's not going to disrupt any other students that do want to take on whatever the yoga teacher is giving them as well. So I try to, and I'm always learning all the time, to offer choice. And sometimes I'm not giving probably all the abundance of choices what everyone probably would like to, but I do my best in my situation as a teacher. So if you do have any suggestions, please let me know, because I'm always looking for new ideas and ways to offer choice in my class. And I think one thing that I really do like is offering choice at the beginning of the class. And I just did this recently, and it's been something that I wanted to do for a while, but I think I'm going to incorporate it more. So I'll meet you over at the mat. Let's get to it. So I really wanted to encourage you right now is to start off in a position on your mat in something that makes you feel comfortable and perhaps nurtured and gives you safety and just something that's quite a restful shape. So this could be, perhaps for some of you, this might be laying on your side. For some of you, this could be in a child's position, or for some of you, you might just want to be with your hips on your heels or even a cross-legged position and just sitting upright just for a moment. So you can choose whatever position you want to be in. And just taking a few moments in your position to notice your breath. Perhaps the shape that you've chosen when you breathe, maybe a part of your chest pushes into another part of your body. You might notice how that feels. And then whatever position you are in, if you can just start to make your way up onto your all fours into your neutral position. So just making sure that your knees are hip width apart, you're underneath your hips, your wrists are underneath your shoulders with your fingers spread. And just beginning to create some movement into your body. And you can do this in any way that you like. So, and this is mainly around about with your wrists, sort of trying to maybe using the contact, keeping your knees and your hands on the floor if you can. So for you, this might be using your upper body to create circles. Or you might even incorporate your cat-cow. As you inhale, lifting your chest and tailbone, and then exhale, tucking your chin towards your chest. Or you might look over your shoulder towards your hip and then change sides. Or this might even just be all three, where you can come all the way back or extend your shoulders over your wrists and really notice how that feels on your wrists. So you can even close down your eyes if you like, even incorporate pelvic circles, tipping your head, and then going the opposite direction. Just listening to what your body needs and what feels good for you right now. And then from here, if you wish, you can come onto your forearms, just to give some release on your wrists. And so from here you can either start with just one leg from the back if you like, using your heel to push away, feel the extension behind your leg. And the other option here as well is not coming on your forearms, is staying up on your wrists if you prefer. So you've got that choice of being on your forearms or being on your wrists. But I'll just, for demonstration purposes, stay on my forearms. And then taking to your opposite side, using your heel to push away from your body. And then from here, you can extend both legs out. So really activating your core. And so you'd be in a high plank if you're on your wrists. And if this is probably a little bit too activating, if you like, you can just lower your hips to the floor and release your toes and then come up into a low cobra or sphinx. So just holding there for a few breaths, and then when you are ready, depending on where you are, you just come down onto your hips and releasing your toes. So even if you are on your wrists, coming down onto your forearms, and then just looking forward, lifting your chest. This is a back bend here, so you can always adjust your elbows and make them a little bit wider. And then if you like to bring your head into this movement, you can bring your head up and down. Turn it from side to side. Or if you like, you can bring yourself up onto your fingers and perhaps move. And then dipping each shoulder down, creating a little twist, just depending on where you're at. And then coming back onto your forearms, tucking your toes back under, coming back up onto your knees, and then onto your hands. And then when you're ready, just tucking your toes under once again, and we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. And also remembering that you can always use a chair for your downward facing dog. I have got one on the way, so I'm very excited to start to bring that into future episodes. But when you're ready to come up onto your downward facing dog on your exhale, creating a bend in your knees is really nice, so you've got some movement, using your legs, your heels to swap from side to side, using your hands to push into the mat. And if you prefer to use a chair, keep your wrists safe, that's good too. And then on your next exhale, bring your knees back down to your mat, releasing your toes and then coming back onto your knees. So if you'd like to use a blanket under your knees for protection, you can grab that now. And then just from here, really just using your upper body just to create some movement. Might go from side to side. Might bring your arms into it. Moving from side to side. And you might even bring your hips to heels. And then moving your arms in a way that's fluid. Opening your arms, carrying a little back bend, or even taking your hands on your hips. Or even then coming down into child's position with your hips to heels, with your arms, your hands extended in front of you. Stay here for a few breaths. And then coming back up onto your knees. Even if you'd like to tuck your toes underneath as well, and just perhaps even just playing around with your half camel, extending your one arm up. But all of this, you can create anything just by creating some movement as you're on your knees. And then even moving from side to side. Or even taking your hands, interlacing your fingers and then bringing them up over your head. And exhale, coming back down, bringing them from side to side, bringing your head. So just really encouraging you to create some options, to experiment. And the good thing is, wherever you are, it's just you and me, and no one's really watching. So from there, coming back onto your neutral position and just tucking your toes under, coming back into your downward facing dog, bring your knees into your position, and then using your hands to walk back to your feet, taking your hands to your shins, taking an inhale, looking forward for your half forward lift, and your exhale, full forward fold. So just letting your torso be heavy, flicking swinging your hips from side to side. And just let your arms and hands drape over your mat. And then taking a deep bend in your knees as you walk your hands away from you. Coming into a downward facing dog just for a few breaths. Then using your feet to walk up to your hands. Taking a half forward lift. As you inhale, exhale, full forward fold. And this time, just stepping your left foot back towards the back of the mat. And you've got an option here as well. You can either keep your knee off your mat, or you can lower your knee off the mat. And releasing your toes if you've got your knee back down to the mat. And then taking an inhale, lifting your torso and your chest up. And from here you can either bring your hands to your hips, or in an Anjali Mudra, or raised up towards the ceiling as well. And I always like to have a bit of a play around with my hips here, just to notice if I sink my hips forward, how that feels. Just being mindful of your back knee if it is on your back knee. And then when you're ready, framing your front foot, tucking your back toe under, but if you've got your knee off the mat, it'll be like this already. And then stepping back into your downward facing dog. And then from here, taking a bend in your knees, walking your feet up towards your hands. Inhale, half forward lift. Exhale, full forward fold. Draping your upper body over your legs. Taking your palms to your hands to your mat. Stepping your right foot back, either taking the option of keeping your knee off the mat or releasing your knee back down to the mat and releasing your toes. I'll take my knee off the mat for this one. And then looking forward, and when I'm ready, on my inhale, coming back up to raising. So this is a high lunge, and using my options are taking my hands to my hips and Jali Mudra, or raised up towards the ceiling. So noticing that there is a significant difference in energy that's needed by just having my back knee off the mat. Allowing myself to sink that little bit further. On my next exhale, taking my hands to the mat, stepping back into my downward facing dog. And then on your exhale, releasing your knees and coming into a child's position. So having your knees wide, big toes touching, hips to heels. You can extend your head towards your mat. If you like, you can either have your arms forward along your mat, or this allows a little bit of protection for your shoulders by having your hands around your feet. And just noticing your breathing. And then on the inhale, coming back up and just getting yourself ready for Shavasana. So if you need to have any clothing to keep you warm, or a blanket, or if you've got a bolster or an eye pillow, anything at all, just taking yourself along your mat. Just allowing your whole body to be heavy. And you can start to create some movement by wiggling your toes and fingers. So if you prefer to stay that little bit longer in Shavasana, please feel free to pause the video or just stop and stay where you are. And you can either turn and roll over to your side just for a moment. And then using your top hand to push yourself up. Into a seated position. So I hope that gave you some insight. Obviously there's a lot more options that can be had, from standing positions to seated with your legs out. inversions, so many options. But I hope that gave you a little bit of choice, a little bit of creativity, and you feel like you've actually practiced something that is a little bit more individualized and unique for you. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe for notifications to receive messages of when I release a video. Enjoy the rest of your day.